Well, Mark and Natalie, the night of the big dance has arrived, and you're very fortunate. Things look to be sharp. I guess you'll be very happy about the time and energy and money you've poured into setting up your stable at Pukekohe, because that's turned up trumps for you.
It has, Dave, yeah, and the horses have been too valuable to go into it the way it was, so yeah, it was an expensive procedure, but it's been well worth it, I think.
Dina Bolt's first up, Natalie, and you were in charge. Went 58 mile rate the other night, looked to have something in reserve. He'll be very hard to beat.
I think he will, Dave. It's a big step up in grade for him, but he's in a really good place. We think the Triple A's really brought him on. That one-on-one time with us has been really wonderful as well. So, no, I'd expect him to run a very good race.
And the 3-year-olds are, as you've said, Natalie, look a very even lot. So you've got an outside draw. It looks as if you might have to do a bit of work during the race. Has one change gone on from last week? That was his first right-handed run, and can he overcome that draw?
Look, Dave, I think he has definitely come on since the run, but can he overcome the draw? I'd say not.
No, that's very frank. And flying even better, of course, is well drawn and won, so he should take part in it sooner or later.
Most definitely, he'll have his chance from there, Dave. He's got good early speed, so I'd expect him to be up forward somewhere. He seems well.
The question for you, Mark, is Smooth Deal, is one run enough? How do you feel? Can he get some money after first up, or do you think he'll need more racing?
After last week's run, Dave, I would say he probably needs another run under his belt. I'd expect an improved run, but I think he'll benefit again from another run.
He's come on quite a lot, though, from the first up?
Well, he's come on, yeah. He probably hung a little bit too much in that first race, so I'll iron that out through the week, and he should be better for that as well.
And Oscar Bonavino, we can probably dismiss that race by asking you if you're happy with his condition or very happy with him, because the others are not going to have a great deal of chance if you are.
Yeah, no, very happy with him, Dave. He's in a good place.
And moving on to the filly, Natalie, the Amazing Dream. Tough draw last week, better draw this week. She's obviously taken no harm from that race, and she's moving on.
Most definitely, Dave. She's quite a chubby little girl, so I think the run would have done her really good. She went good. She was a little bit aggressive in the middle stages, but she's trained really well, and I think she's drawn better. I should expect to be in front at some stage.
Would you expect her to be the equal of those fillies, all things being equal?
Most
She seems
definitely.
to. Yes, fair comment. And then Winterfell, well, Mark, it's the fairy tale story of the series, really. I think back in October he was rated about the 17th, and here he is, a warm favourite to win the trotting final. So
Yeah.
is there much to add to what you've said so far and what he's done so far?
Not really, Dave. As I said, he seems to have turned the corner mentally and the way he's trotting. And we've had a good week since the third round of heats with him, and his work on Wednesday was very good. So, yes, we've got no excuses at this stage.
You're a pretty good student of the opposition, as all good drivers must be. What do you make of that field? Who do you think might be the hardest to beat, Mark?
A lot of the better ones are on the second line, so you'd expect it to be a race where moves are made. But I think the early battle between Majestic Man and Winterfell will be a telling point of the race.
He is, on his day, he can be versatile, can't he? You won't mind if you have to do some work.
Oh no, definitely not. And just the way he handled 27 on the third round of heats and the way he did it in track record time, he gave me confidence that he could roll along probably a little bit better than that.
Natalie, you take over another masterpiece who's had no luck in the series. Actually, you'd think he'd be good enough to win a race like that?
Daddy, I think so. He was quite stiff with his draws all through the heats, and he did get held up most of them, so he actually hasn't really had a tough run yet, the little guy. He's come through super. I thought his last run was very good. I probably thought with clear racing room he could have run third. I think it's a good race for him. He now comes out of barrier 2, so I'd expect him to be running a very good race.
The pair of you have 3 of the strongest contenders in the final, and we don't need to go over old ground with how good they are. But Natalie, have you any concerns about a 4-year-old who's had backed up like he's backed up, and can he just keep on doing this?
Oh, Davey, like you don't really know, but he seems to have come through his runs really well. by the end of the last round of heats, the next morning he ran off down the paddock, and he's really bright and well. He looks amazing. So I think the runs have done nothing but improve him. I think he's just probably going to need that little bit of luck somewhere in the run. I'd hate to be 3 wide in that one for too long. But look, he'll run a great race, Dave, and I think being 4, I don't think it'll matter to him because he's such a laid-back, casual guy, and he's just come through so good.
And also your stable in particular has turned a lot of major races now into 4-year-old events. So the 4-year-olds are really shining in these sort of races now, aren't they?
Oh, they are, Dave. I think we sort of, you get through your 3-year-old season, and some of them that are this good, you've got to target races like this. There's not much around for 4-year-olds alone in their own grade, and with our handicapping system now, these horses are thrown straight in the deep end. Like if you look at Ultimate Sniper, he come out of 3-year-old racing straight to open company, fresh up after a long way from the races, and it did take him a long time to adapt to that. I think the lesser 4-year-olds, it will really hurt them, but he's probably just lucky enough he was good enough.
The pace of the races are likely to be strong, but does it bother you whether they go hard or go easy?
They won't be going easy with me in there, Dave.
Yeah, go ahead. What have you got to say about that, Mark? You've got the second row draw, but it's a 2,700 metre race, so you might have to do some work, but he has a chance.
Well, he'll have to do some work at some stage, Dave, but yeah, if you can get round and get handy and that, which the horse to beat's probably going to be in front or parked, so yeah, he's got to do some work at some stage to get handy, but he seems in a really good place.
And both of you on the fixer, who's looks from this side of the camera to be a bit of a danger because he keeps improving every start and he's had a good series, not too hard a racing. You know him best, Natalie. What do you think?
Oh, he's in a great place, the fixer, and he still hasn't had a hard run through the heats. So I think with any amount of luck, it would not surprise me one bit to see that horse win.
And what do you make of Ashley at this stage now, Mark, that he's sort of settled down a bit and doing a bit more?
Yes, yeah.
Can he use that draw?
I think 1 and 2 will both have equal gate speed to him, Dave, so I'm not sure what will happen early in the race, but he wouldn't want to burn too hard early, but if we've been pleased that he had the week off after the 3rd round. I think that's freshened him up a bit, so he's a horse that needs luck in running, and but if he gets the right run, he'd be finishing over the top of them.
Yes, it would be a special achievement for both of you to run the trifecta in the Dominion, and it actually could happen, even though we did not touch woods, as Natalie says. And finally, Mark, come to probably the easiest interview of the day. Self-assured. Looks as if he would have to beat that field.
Yes, well, he's another one in the Ultimate Sniper class, day where he's been thrown in the deep end, and his runs this season have been all against the best horses, so it's a big drop in class, and thank goodness, because he probably wasn't ready for the runs he did have, so yeah, and in a field like this he looks to be a good thing.
I've spoken to Tim about Chase Auckland. I no doubt he'll be talking to you about what might be the outcome from that, but the second lorry draw could be not necessarily a major disadvantage. What do you think, Natalie? He's had very good draws and had to work hard early from them.
Yeah, I think he's had his chance through the heats, like I said, so probably that second row draw he will have to make a bit more of his own luck. I think he'll either be 3 fence, 4 fence, or try and have to get off somewhere. So I don't really know, Davey. I think he's in a good place, but we'll just see.
Yes. Well, now, Mark, you were going to add something else?
Just enhance your calm, Dave. He's been trotting well. He's had a couple of trials up here, so he's got a good draw. But he may need the run, but he's just the same. You'd think he'd go a good race in a field like that.
Well, he looks to have come up really terrific, doesn't he? But he's running against Oscar first up. It's a bit of a challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. But he is trotting very well, and he's been off the scene for a while. So as I say, the run will improve him, but couldn't be happy with the way he is trotting at the moment.
That's great. Well, it's going to be a big night and a long night, and very hopefully a very successful night, and the best of luck to both of you.
Thanks, Dave.